Good evening to all and welcome to this edition of Primetime Newscast in the English language. I'm called Maureen Z. We'll begin with our top stories. The government of Cameroon has expressed readiness to accept recommendations from other countries to put an end to the Anglophone crisis. The Minister of External Relations, Jean Belambela, this Thursday gave a detailed report to ambassadors and heads of diplomatic missions from different countries. And Catholic Christians of the Diocese of Boya today bid a farewell to little Caro, who was killed by a soldier 2 weeks ago in Boya. Boya denizens paid their last tribute to the 6-year-old child during a requiem mass officiated by the bishop. And researchers have called on Cameroonians to adopt more precautionary measures to effectively roll back infectious diseases. Those were major stories. Details right ahead. Good evening once more. The government of Cameroon has expressed a readiness to accept recommendations from other countries in order to put an end to the ongoing crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. The Minister of External Relations, Jean Belambela, this Thursday gave a detailed report to ambassadors and heads of diplomatic missions from different countries on government's efforts to resolve the ongoing crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. More in the following story.
The letter from the regional councillors addressed to the UN Secretary General a stamped petition from Cameroon requesting greater involvement of the United Nations in issues plaguing Cameroon's northwest, southwest and far north regions. Cameroon, they say, is not dealing with a secessionist crisis, but rather terrorism.
The beheading of Florence Ayafo on June 11, 2020. On October 24, 2020, at midday, armed separatists attacked a college, Kumba, and cowardly murdered 7 young students. This barbaric act, which numbered in thousands, are carried out in the operating mode comparable to terrorist practices.
A Republican move on their part, seeking UN aid.
The heinous crimes are very often commissioned from outside the country by well-known nationals of the Northwest and Southwest.
While they are calling on Antonio Guterres to strongly condemn their crimes and wrongdoings, for without an appropriate response from the UN Secretary General, their criminal actions could go unpunished, while they perpetrate crises from their host countries. Regional councillors from the southwest region, Shedil Nganje, and that from the south, Katib Meba, expects UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres.
He has the powers to call the country for a unanimous dialogue, for us to sit on a dialogue table and talk as a family. So that's our cry, that he should respond to our letter by bringing peace in our nation.
5 years running, the crisis have crumbled these regions, leaving the population in desperate conditions, despite government appeasement measures. The United Nations General Assembly, committed in fighting international terrorism, should come to the aid of Cameroon also.
This is that was a report on regional councillors who have expressed worries on the prolonged security situation in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. We'll come back to this report where the government of Cameroon has expressed a readiness to accept recommendations from other countries to end the crisis rocking the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. The Minister of External Relations, Jean Belambela, this Thursday gave a detailed report to ambassadors and heads of diplomatic missions. More in the following story.
One after the other, the expected arrival of the different diplomats here at the Cameroon Ministry of External Relations. Time for the government of Cameroon to disclose before the international community efforts made so far to resolve the Anglophone crisis. A lengthy declaration of measures by the Minister of External Relations, Jean Belambela, this October 28, to the hearings of ambassadors and heads of diplomatic missions. Major steps like the holding of the major national dialogue, recent peace visits of the Prime Minister to the two regions, the presidential plan for reconstruction and development, as well as the disarmament and the reintegration process, among others, yielding very little fruits. 5 years gone, but the crisis still persisting. The government, through this report, equally laments over heavy human and economic loss caused by the uprisings, indicating that it is a total handicap, especially with the Cameroon's second employer, the CDC, grounded. Same with the tourism sector. While lauding the efforts of friendly nations at this challenging moment, Minister Lejeune Belambela declares open doors for more recommendations to bring the conflicts to an end.
As Cameroon continues to seek for permanent and indigenous solution to the crisis, whose origin date back to our trusteeship and the fast forward building our nationhood, it is worth underlining. In this regard, once more reiterate how we really welcome valuable support and multinational accompaniment of our friends and partners.
A call, the diplomatic corps, pledged to join hands for lasting solutions.
Well, it was more a kind of state of play about what has been done so far. So I guess we will have further discussions about the way forward as well.
Though ready to accept proposals, as many as possible, the government of Cameroon warns that no interference from whosoever that can jeopardize the unity of Cameroon will be tolerated.
Catholic Christians of the Boya Diocese today bid a farewell to little Caro, who was killed 2 weeks ago by a soldier. Boya denizens paid their last tribute to the 6-year-old child during a requiem, a mass officiated by the Bishop of the Boya Diocese in the presence of her family members. Still under shock, Ines Ondwambala has the rest of that story.
The death of little Caro has left her family members in shock and consternation as they continue to mourn their daughter, which was killed in Boya by a bullet said to have gone straight. The pain has remained deep. It was a moment full of sorrows at the St. Charles Luanga Parish in Moliko as family members of little Caro turned out en masse, joining Catholic Christian of the Boya Diocese to pray for the departed soul of little Caro.
Looking back 2 weeks after, one can also imagine the trauma which that action put a young schoolmate and friend of Caro lives, as they saw the lifeless body of their friend used as a demonstration of the evils of gun violence.
The Bishop of the Boya Diocese, His Lordship Michael Bibi, condemns the killings in the crisis-hit southwest region and decries the loss of the gendarme officer Achille Vogo and little Caro. Michael Bibi said only God has the right to give and take away human life.
I decided to draw out some lessons I can learn from an incident like this one. The first place I this should never happen again.
All attempts to get family members of little Caro to react failed as they are still emotionally affected.
And to reiterate what the bishop said in this moment. He said so many things, but there's one which touched me. Efficiency of our justice system is called pressure.
It is hoped that such tragedy should not repeat itself in the city of Boya, where the population continue to pray for peace to return.
And the Ministry of Employment and Vocational Training have begun seeking ways through which a decentralized local council could work alongside vocational training centers in order to accelerate development. At the sectoral meeting for vocational training, stakeholders in Douala, focus was placed on innovations in the sector. As a unifying story with Gladys Ambo Ziba.
The need for skilled workers is increasing by the day in Cameroon as most young people still graduate without the required competencies needed for the competitive job market. Vocational training stakeholders have begun seeking ways through which decentralized local councils and even enterprises could assist vocational training institutions to bridge the wide gap between employment demand and supply.
We can't talk about development without mentioning the vocational training. Why? Because development is based on skills. We are in a developing country, and we need people who are skillful. That's why we need to talk about vocational training. And it really needs to be supported nationwide and even at the level of the council. For a country to be developed needs bilingualism. It's also a factor of unity.
Before doing vocational training, society had to tell to the schools what is their needs so that they can form students in that.
Apart from these quality trainings, experts say trainees equally need communication skills to facilitate their integration into the job market.
No matter how skillful you are in a domain, if you cannot sell what you have, if you cannot sell yourself, you will never get a job. That's obvious. And even if you get a job, maybe because I do not know, you have maybe some contacts, as people often think, you will not be able to be productive.
At this sectoral meeting for the 2021-2022 school year for vocational training in the littoral region, stakeholders are focusing discussions on the different skills needed by decentralized local councils in the littoral region to speed up development, innovations in vocational training, and recommendations that could better improve the sector.
Environmentalists have made it clear that organic waste could be used in inventing many other products, which will also reduce unsanitary state of the environment. The experts were expressing or specialized on environmental issues were drilled in Douala. As we get the following story with Saleh Sherifa.
The city of the economic capital of Cameroon is filled with abundance of open dumps in ravines and drains. The storage of garbage cans alongside walks and gutters, which poses a real problem of public health, which increases pollution. These drill-down experts specialize on environmental issues to sensitize the population through the press on how to make good use of household wastes and organic waste in particular. You can do whatever you want with organic matters. It's an entire industry that can be created around organic matter produced from households. Job creation, wealth generation, and even the artistic creative framework. Lots of elements can be found around organic matters. These products are made from organic waste to cure the economic city from these unsanitary states. Douala cannot cover all the production of household waste, so we have to find an autonomous financing system. Cleaning activities of drains will be reinforced and the promotion of waste will be done according to what the representative of the City Council of Douala, Madame Banjang Patricia, who is the service chief in environmental issues at the City Council of Douala.
And researchers have called on Cameroonians to adopt a more precautionary measures to effectively roll back infectious diseases. In a conference in Yaoundé today, the focus was on multiplying strategies to effectively roll back infectious diseases. More in the following story with our student journalist from Yaoundé.
Infectious diseases like bacteria, virus and parasite has become a major problem in the Central African countries. Researchers keep multiplying strategies to find lasting solutions to such diseases. It is in line with this that the Research Institute for Development organized a consultation workshop in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, this Thursday, 28.
The main objective of Cameroon, of the Ministry of Health, of the Ministry of Scientific Research, is to eliminate these diseases. So these days we are working on the research, the direction to take for research to come about these infectious diseases in Africa.
Notwithstanding, numerous efforts has already been made to fight against these diseases in Cameroon.
If I take the case of onchocerciasis, for example, the river blindness, in some areas of Cameroon, we have almost eliminated these diseases because of research, because of the program at the Ministry of Health. Concerning lymphatic filariasis, we have almost eliminated lymphatic filariasis of Cameroon. This is elephantiasis. So we've done evaluation in many parts of Cameroon, and this disease is almost eliminated.
But researchers still declare a lot of challenges in finding solutions on some of these illnesses.
So there are a lot of successes, but still a lot of effort to be done for the other diseases.
During this seminar, presentations were made by scientists on 3 basic aspects: diseases transmitted by mosquitoes, that is, malaria, arboviriosis, neglected tropical diseases like filaria and sleeping sickness, and also mycobacterial, which causes tuberculosis and Buruli ulcer.
Recurrent traffic in the city of Douala and siren urban disorder to problematics that has proven to be a hard nut to crack by the authorities. This was the focus of master thesis of 2 young researchers at the Faculty of Letters and Human Sciences of the University of Douala. More in the following story.
This young researcher is worried about what he has defended in his master's thesis, a soaring urban disorder affecting Cameroon's developments at all levels. A problematic which members of the jury, all lecturers at the Faculty of Letters and Human Sciences see remain endemic and requires urgent attention from government.
Concerning our cities, with many dirties, and then the problem of reglementation of the town by the mayor of the town, for example, Mr. Bassajine. One of the solutions he chose is to take the day of the Thursday of every week to invite all of the populations to clean the town, to clean their houses and many things. But what we think is better for him to invite many of the actors of our city.
A similar problematic is ongoing next door. Yet a young researcher brings arguments in his master's thesis why traffic for donkey years has been a hard nut to crack by the authorities simply because they neither applied the text regulating the sector and give a listening ear to users. There are regulation mechanisms put in place by government, but not implemented. And again, users are not in constant communication with the government. Their voices are not heard. Reason why traffic has been endemic. We want government to use a bottom-top approach. The master's thesis at the Department of Letters and Human Sciences at the University of Douala, October 28, for the past years has embraced an innovative approach with focus on day-to-day realities of urban cities in Cameroon. Major recommendations are expected to be applied by governments for better management of cities and its people.
Patricia Tomaino Ndam Njoya has been re-elected at the helm of the Cameroon Democratic Union CDU. The election, which took place at the Yaoundé Conference Center these days during the ongoing party's 7th convention, was less competitive as the lone candidate won by simple acclamation. Talking to the press after the election, Tomaino Ndam Njoya expressed readiness to pilot a new era of the party, contributing the fight for peace and the amelioration of democracy in Cameroon. Yes, an excerpt of Tomaino Ndam Njoya. She was talking.
It is very important as a big family to know that Cameroon is by us and for all of Cameroonians. It is important, a new area, because it's clear that the social contracts which guide us now in our country has a lot of problems. That is clear. So it is Cameroonians, women, men, young, and without any religious consideration, without any tribe consideration, who come together to express their concern in the future, because out of this national convention, we have an action plan for 5 years.
Tomaidon Damjoya has been re-elected as the president of CDU. She was talking to our reporter, Heinzen Cha. And that brings us to the end of the edition of Newscast on Canal the International. Thanks so much for watching. We have news in the French language at exactly 7:50. This Navo Senkang will arrange this Lenkanga, but coming up next is the brief with Lil Pijou. As for me, I'll be back tomorrow for another edition of the news in the English language. Good night.